So we immediately self-evacuated. We told our neighbors on either side of us that they needed to leave their building, go outside, and wait for the sheriffs to arrive. I secured the building. I waited outside for the sheriffs to get there, and you know, that's basically it.
And you mentioned you're a munition. You have training as munitions specialist. How it looked like they had a pretty wide area for the containment, and obviously they want to err on the side of caution.
Right.
So what's
okay, so this device, when it hits the ground, it has about 100-meter dispersion radius, and the idea is it's dropped in a cluster. So you have like you know, you've heard of carpet bombing. Well, this is an anti-personnel type of carpet bomb. You'd have 20 in a cluster. They would hit the ground, you know, on an adversary that may be under deep cover like jungle or a forested area, and you want to have a wide dispersion of damage. So it's got a high explosive. It's not a very big warhead. It's actually just a little bit bigger than a football. Right. But what it's got around it are these belts of things we call flechettes, which are like a nail with little fins on the end. So this stuff would disperse out. Now inside a building, obviously, it's very similar to that, actually.
You called it the BLU-48, you said?
It's a BLU-49AB.
So you're real close.
Yeah. So it's in fact, yeah, I'll show you a picture of it. It's essentially a football-sized item, and it's got a stabilizing tail fin on it, which would then allow it to stabilize in flight before it hits the ground. So here's the actual device. And you see on the bottom of it, it's marked HE loaded, which is high explosive loaded. And at the top, it says bomb fragmentation. And in the middle, you see BLU-49AB. And the thing that concerned me is this tail is typically in a non-deployed position. That tail fin is all the way down against the bomb. When it's been actually dropped out of a larger device, this tail fin extends to stabilize the bomb so that it hits the ground nose down. Mm-hmm. It's important that it goes nose down, because if it's tumbling, the plunger won't be pushed and it won't go off.
Now, you had mentioned here in the building, if that's its original, the intention of that bomb, if it had been deployed, if it had gone off in your store, what kind of damage would you have expected?
Well, you know, I mean, first of all, a high explosive charge, even something that small in a contained space of about 600 square feet, it would have been devastating. It would have severely injured or, you know, possibly killed anybody in that vicinity. The other thing is, the explosive has one purpose, and that's to disperse the shrapnel, as you called it earlier, and that would cause a lot more devastation. So inside a building, the spread isn't going to be 100 meters, but it would still it would be, it would set a fire.
Pretty catastrophic.
Right. That's why I put it in a metal container immediately, because I had no idea. Did he drop it out on the sidewalk right before he got there? I put it by the back door, called the sheriffs, and then we self-evacuated.
And then you said this gentleman found this at a yard sale?
No, he was having a yard sale, and someone came to his yard sale with it in the back of a truck.
Wow.
And said, would you like to buy this? And he didn't buy it from him, he just took it away from him.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good man. And he did the right thing. Again, as Perry said earlier, we're always saying, if you see something, say something.
Correct.
And in this instance, this is a man who actually did something. Probably make the phone call first,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
No, try to transport.
Yeah,
Don't
I would suggest,
transport.
instead of bringing the devices to Commando Military Surplus, I would suggest they call the local sheriffs or, you know, whatever jurisdiction, and report it there, and then leave it right there and let them deal with it, because that's essentially what we did.
So what do you specialize in Commando Military Surplus? Because obviously this person knew to come to you because you have this experience in military training.
So since we've opened the store, now we're hitting our first year anniversary on the 2nd of July. And we're veteran owned. This store's been here 36 years. It's actually a hallmark of the old downtown U-Haul. It's the first time it's been veteran owned. So one of the things that I've done with my time in the store is done a lot of veteran outreach. We support a lot of wounded hero, combat wounded veteran programs. And so this veteran, we had struck up a relationship over the last 6-8 months, and so he thought, you know what, this guy knows his stuff. I'll bring it to him. I'm also a reserve police officer with the Los Angeles Police Department for the last 26 years.
I'm so glad you're across the street from us.
It's great that,
I feel
again,
so much safer.
singular, unique to Santa Clarita community, as far as when you get that type of reaction, you get that, oh yeah, I know somebody in the community is law enforcement officer, oh yeah, he has military training, I know where to go, I know where to bring a safe explosive.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thank you so much for being there
Really glad you
and
were there.
having that relationship, and that if anyone is listening, and if you by chance have a blue 49AB bomblet, don't bring it to Joe. You might want to call him, because it created quite the stir here in Old Town Newhall today with the street completely evacuated. But again, thank you for sort of being our hero in that you picked that thing up and put it in and did what was appropriate. So we're very grateful to you. But wow, what a shakeup in the neighborhood.
And you know, something I would say to anybody listening is I did what was within the scope of my training to
Right.
have done. I wouldn't recommend that anybody just go and pick up a bomb and stick it in a box.
Right.
Okay, so I want to say that right off the bat. But I've dealt with these before. We used to have range clearance exercises where we'd have to go up and collect these things, put them in one place because they didn't detonate for whatever reason, and then blow them up so we had to render them safe. So that's, I did what I felt was within my scope of training to do, and I wouldn't recommend that everybody do that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If this gentleman found this, someone brought it to him, what are the chances more of these devices are out in the community? I mean, how would they even get into civilian hands?
Well, okay, that's a good question. And, as I mentioned, during my Air Force days, I was actually stationed at George Air Force Base in Victorville. Now, we had a bombing range just north of the base. It was called the Cuddyback Range, and it was out in the middle of the desert. The problem is, it hasn't been used for years, and we call this a UXO, an unexploded ordnance. It's possible that those things are still out there somewhere. The Air Force did the best job they could of cleaning all that up, blowing it all up, but occasionally one of those kind of slips through the cracks.
Covered up in the dirt and then
Yeah,
uncovered.
and
And
someone
then
may have found
finds
it,
Yeah.
and that's more than likely. It's something that's been used. I'm not sure if the BLU 49AB is still being used today, but when I was in the Air Force, it was a standard of our cluster bomb ammunition set.
So cluster bombs are still a thing?
Yes, they are
boy.
definitely still a thing.
Hopefully not anymore on Newhall.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Hopefully this is the last one.
Yeah, but no more in Newhall. We'd like that. Joe, again, thank you for what you did today for the community and for being that guy that we have to thank for the idea that something that could have been an incredibly dangerous situation today was taken care of because of your knowledge and bravery. And again, thank you for being across the street from us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
All right, what we're going to do now